Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tearing down the absolute most dangerous societal myth you've ever been taught. Seriously, it's the idea that blind kindness guarantees your safety and respect. We've all grown up hearing it, right? Just be good to others, and the world will be good to you. Well, today, we're going to look at the deeply hidden and frankly shocking cost of goodness through the eyes of one of history's sharpest observers.
Take a look at this question and answer it honestly for yourself. Does being good actually keep you safe? Do you believe that your generosity automatically builds loyalty? Because the brutal reality observed by Niccolo Machiavelli centuries ago is that in a world full of wolves, trying to survive as a sheep is literally just going to get you eaten alive. Society tells us goodness is a shield, right? But Machiavelli saw that blind goodness is actually like a wildfire. If left unchecked, it'll burn right through your relationships, your career, and your dreams.
All right, so Section 1, the myth of kindness and why being nice actually equals being vulnerable. Let's dive into this.
We really need to unpack why your constant, everyday availability actually signals weakness, not the strength you think it does. I mean, think about that hardworking team manager who's always covering for everyone, always staying late, putting the team first. But when promotion time rolls around, they get passed over. Why? Because extreme availability makes your help utterly worthless in the eyes of others. It paints you as a predictable doormat. When you never set boundaries and you never ever show your teeth, people just naturally assume you don't have any. Machiavelli's core philosophy here is brilliantly simple. You just can't be one thing. To truly protect your energy and thrive, you've got to abandon that total vulnerability of a sheep. Instead, you need to adopt the strategic awareness of a fox so you can spot the traps, combined with the fierce boundaries of a lion to actually frighten away the wolves.
Moving on to Section 2, the generosity trap and the life cycle of a favor. This is where the psychology gets really fascinating. Let's map out the exact psychological trap where repeated kindness literally bankrupts your relationships. The first time you help someone, they're incredibly grateful. But by the 10th time, they just expect it. Your exceptional kindness has become their new normal. And the 11th time, when you finally have to say no, well, the applause completely dies. Suddenly, they don't remember the 10 times you said yes. You are actively resented for the one time you said no. Your constant generosity didn't build loyalty, it built an addiction. And like any addict, people get super angry when their supply gets cut off. So why does this happen? It's actually hardwired into our brains through a psychological concept called hedonic adaptation. Basically, humans are built to get used to things. Our brains literally get bored of people being nice to us. Over time, your repeated acts of kindness lose their power. They become invisible because they're just so common. And that breeds an incredibly toxic entitlement. Your sacrifices just fade into the background. But that single act of setting a boundary, oh, that stands out like a massive red flag. Machiavelli hit the nail on the head centuries ago. He understood that abundance destroys value, while scarcity creates it. Think about it. If you dump all your generosity on someone at once, or constantly overdeliver, it totally loses its flavor. But by piecing yourself, by giving strategically and gradually, you force people to actually recognize, appreciate, and respect your effort.
Which brings us right into Section 3, the illusion of gratitude, and why appreciation has a strict expiration date.
You know, we often walk around with this false belief that appreciation lasts forever. But repeated favors don't stay as gifts, they tragically morph into rigid obligations. Say you help a neighbor move once, they're thrilled. The next time, they kind of just expect it. By the third time, if you're busy, they're actively annoyed, wondering why you aren't doing this thing they've now come to view as their absolute right. It really hurts to admit, but the harsh psychological truth of this explainer is that doing more good things actually makes people less grateful. Crazy, right? But human nature leads them to remember the advantage they consistently extracted from you, rather than the actual kindness you showed in giving it to them. The reliable helper very quickly becomes the automatic, invisible choice for literally every problem. So, to break out of this toxic cycle, we have to switch from emotion to logic. Here is Section 4, the economics of power and the mathematics of giving. Think about the classic airplane oxygen mask rule. They always tell you to put your own mask on first. Why? Because if you pass out trying to help someone else, well, now there are two people needing rescue instead of just one. You haven't solved the problem, you've literally doubled it. And this translates directly to your everyday life. Your time, your energy, your resources, they are all totally finite. Saying yes to everyone inevitably means saying no to yourself.
Unlimited kindness just drains your strength. It leads to exhaustion, delayed dreams, and this bitter resentment that ultimately stops you from helping anyone at all. When you run yourself down to zero, you go from being a huge asset to becoming a burden who now needs saving themselves.
This is exactly why Machiavelli stated that he who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. The truth is, you simply cannot command respect, lead others, or even be genuinely helpful to your community if you fail to rigorously command and protect your own time and energy. You just can't lead others if you can't effectively lead yourself. Which brings us to the ultimate solution. Section 5, Mastering Strategic Goodness and Wearing the Mask of Virtue.
As you can see, there is a massive difference between being nice and being good. Nice people prioritize temporary comfort. They avoid conflict and just tell you what you want to hear to maintain the status quo. True leaders, though, they're more like a doctor who has to temporarily cause pain to cut out an infection and save the life. They prioritize lasting impact. They resolve the conflict, and they tell people what they absolutely need to hear to create real positive change.
So how do we actually put this into practice? Well, before you grant your next favor, run it through this exact 3-question checklist. Number 1, does this align with my values and goals? Number 2, can I do this without entirely depleting my own resources? And number 3, will this person actually respect the sacrifice I'm making? Listen, if the answer to any of those is no, you must boldly and firmly say no. By guarding your energy, when you finally do say yes, that yes carries immense power. It creates deep loyalty instead of just cheap entitlement. Now, we have to talk about Machiavelli's most famous and definitely most misunderstood quote, "The end justifies the means." People always assume this means doing evil things to get what you want. But in the context of strategic goodness, it simply means that your golden, pure intentions are completely worthless if they don't actually generate positive, tangible results in the real world. The world doesn't live inside your heart, right? It lives with the consequences of your actions.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. Goodness without strategy is a dangerous trap. History doesn't remember those who were merely agreeable, or those who gave everything away until they were totally crushed. It honors those who survived long enough, who were tough enough to turn their carefully guarded resources into a lasting, positive legacy. Goodness without strategy just makes you a victim, but goodness with strategy, that's a sustainable weapon for real influence and survival. So, I'm going to leave you with this final choice to ponder. Will you let blind goodness weaken you? Or will you master strategic goodness to build real power? You now have the knowledge to spot the trap of hedonic adaptation. You have the tools to stop being an over... Welcome to the